Are you
Yeah.
sure you want to go live?
Yeah, go on then.
How else are we going to work?
I don't know. Right, we already have our first listener, but I can't see who because of the messages.
It's Shirley.
Hello, Shirley.
She can't respond probably.
Oh,
so.
Shirley, there we go. Sorry, yeah, the little messages that are hovering over the LinkedIn live audio box are basically blocking me from seeing names. So that's the first thing that we need to change. Good morning. My name is Matt Coyne from Waves Connects, and we also have Adam and Abby. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Oh, geez. So yeah, Adam, co-founder of Event Industry News and third wheel on the Not Sure Yet show.
Abby, over to you.
So yeah, my name's Abby, and also part of the Not Sure Yet show podcast. But I am senior account manager at Grip, that does networking and matchmaking software for events.
I've just realised how hard our name is to say.
It really is.
The Not Sure show.
And hello, Sophie, and hello, Moraine, who are here.
Yeah, welcome. Good morning.
Guys.
And just for those of you listening, what are we talking about? We're not totally sure yet. That's why we've been recording these conversations. But we
have got a topic, haven't we? But I guess
Yeah.
the real reason that we're actually doing this is because we've not done one before, and maybe introduce why we're doing it based on what happened to you the week.
Yeah, so I was very kindly invited to LinkedIn HQ by Celine of Editus, and she was telling us about audio events, which I think a lot of people had no idea that they existed in LinkedIn. And so, to be completely honest, I said to these two, let's do an audio event. And they said yes before they really knew what I was talking about. I think that's fair, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's completely true.
So yeah, mainly because I think it's something that has been going for a couple of years on LinkedIn.
Clubhouse
but
was kind of the first one to really do this kind of format, though, weren't they?
Who was, sorry,
What
mate?
happened to Clubhouse?
Yes, yeah. Well, that's
Clubhouse?
the jokes in that then LinkedIn meeting were kind of like, is it Clubhouse reimagined? I don't know. Did you guys do Clubhouse?
I can remember listening to a bunch of them, possibly even spoke on one, I think. But it's like one of those brands for me that feels like it's disappeared into infinity. It's like nobody talks about it anymore.
Well, I wanted to join because it was during the pandemic, wasn't it? I wanted to join, but being an Android user, they didn't release it for Android. So I watched all of the sort of iOS users, having a great old time for those first few weeks, and had complete FOMO. And by the time they brought it out for Android, the buzz had died off, and so nobody was really using it anymore, which was disappointing.
Yeah.
I think the most difficult thing here with LinkedIn doing this, and it's not that the fact that it's not the technology or because obviously it's clearly working pretty well.
Yeah.
It's fine up to now by the sounds of it. It's the discoverability of it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much going off on LinkedIn already. I don't know. I feel like LinkedIn's biggest problem at the moment, from a user perspective, is actually finding the stuff that you actually want to watch and listen, because it's just they're either quashing stuff to try and get you to spend money with it, or there's just so much happening. But that's just my own opinion.
Yeah, I think so it's interesting. I was asked a lot of comments and questions before I went into LinkedIn, and it was kind of a lot was like, oh, why don't they do an event app? Oh, why don't they do this? Why don't they do the rest of it? And I think to your point, they do a lot of things, and that might be quite confusing. But I think it's maybe just remembering the purpose of LinkedIn, and it's actually for marketing reach and network. And it's not what I want to share. I want Adam or Abby, if I was organizing an event or something, it's not what I want to share for Adam or Abby to maybe listen to, because they might see it, they might know me, they might know my event, they might sign up anyway. But it's the second degree connection stuff, and I think that's probably the bit with like all this stuff. Is it more noise? Maybe. But is it
literally
more noise? But is it more about, okay, it's just another way to reach a wider audience in your work sphere, not on maybe Facebook if that's personal, or Instagram, or whatever the other channels you might be using.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, the thing that I was quite intrigued by with it. Well, one, I found myself putting on makeup as if I was about to do a webinar.
Me too.
And then realizing that I could actually have stayed in my pajamas if I wanted. But more from a listener perspective, I like the idea of not having to sit at my desk to watch it. I mean, I think a lot of our webinars these days, they don't have slides anyway, so technically you could get up and move around and not be sat at your desk, but I think this almost gives you further permission to do that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well,
I think they're missing it. Sorry, Matt, you go.
I was just going to say really quickly before you go, mate. For those listening, thank you, because we don't know what we're talking about yet. But I'm keen to know. So I did hear that one of you could almost raise your hand like Clubhouse, and we can invite you into the chat, but I can't quite see how. But also, Bogdan's asking to speak, so we'll bring him in a second. But also, what I can't see are sort of comments or things like that. So maybe one of you, I mean, you're all playing with the reactions, which is awesome. Maybe one of you can invite yourself to speak quickly, and we can just find out what it's like from the other perspective. There is Bogdan, allow to speak. Bogdan, I think you should be now in the conversation.
Hello.
There we go. How are you, mate?
I can hear you. Welcome.
Thank you. No, I didn't really want to press on that, but there was nobody else, so I'll take one.
Not one to shy away from speaking, Bogdan.
No.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before. I just have a foggy brain due to a bug from my daughter, which Matt, you might know how that feels. yeah, exactly.
What's it like from the attendee? Obviously, signing in is pretty easy, right? But
yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I've actually done quite a lot of these audio events, participating in audio events. There is this thing called the AI Collective, which apparently I'm part of, and they do every Friday they do an audio event, which is quite nice. It means that I don't have to be in front of a computer. I can go on and walk the dog and listen to it, and it's quite fun.
Yeah.
But you cannot comment, by the way. So you don't have any comments. You can record the show, as far as I know, and you can only do that with those funny reactions that you have there, or raise your hand and be invited.
Yeah.
Which you have to press on unmute from your side. So it's kind of a
it's a bit to do.
So you still have the control as host.
Yeah, I don't see anything. I see the same thing if you invite me as I would see as a participant.
I mean,
so I can only press leave basically now.
For example, I'm just going to move Bogdan to listening, but it does work. Thank you, Bogdan. I think Sophie, who's listening, also is saying just sitting in a lounge, plugged in, and it feels a bit like a radio chat show, which is kind of cool. And that was something Barris said at LinkedIn. Was I think a lot of us have talked about before, but the quality of virtual being a TV production, it's no difference from maybe this being reimagined as radio shows. You just have to work the channel a bit more like radio, maybe.
I love that analogy, Sophie, because especially that bringing people in. So, if somebody wants to sort of join in the discussion, we've got Sophie, and she's joining us from wherever you are.
Her lounge.
Sophie, give me your opinion on blah, blah, blah. I really think you could run it like that. That's really nice.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder, what's interesting is I can't, as the host, can't invite someone to come and chat, but they could effectively put themselves forward. So I guess that's quite nice that you can't suddenly pick on someone if they're not wanting to or willing to chat and stuff too.
I feel like they are missing. I think Bogdan mentioned this when he jumped up. I think the fact that you aren't able to record it is a missed opportunity, because I feel like some people might go down the route of doing it here to generate that podcast rather than. I certainly would, Well,
so I'm attempting at recording screen, recording audio. So let's see what happens from that. I guess, maybe the other thing so we have our little Not Sure Yet show. We've put 3 or 4 episodes out, and it's kind of an off the cuff chat that just a couple of mates have about events and life, right? So maybe the other thing that I think we're probably conscious of is that because it's live, we can't edit it.
Yes, not sounding rude.
But that's also a good thing, right? Like that's kind of
Yeah.
that's genuine conversation, hopefully, without maybe all the cussing and blinding and putting down of competitors and things like that we might do.
We hope.
Yeah.
We'll just have to put "not safe for work" at the end of the next one title.
Maybe more not safe for your job. I don't know.
I'm not sure yet if it is safe for work.
Yeah. So while we're chatting anyway, let's just keep rolling with it. Abby, you threw something at us earlier.
Yeah.
You wanted to talk about something
thought,
cool.
Yeah, when we weren't sure yet what we were going to talk about, I was thinking this morning. I was actually looking through some photos that I took yesterday. I attended one of my client events, which was Performex, which is it's for the attendees are gym owners, and the sort of suppliers, exhibitors, sponsors, and so on are suppliers to gyms. Obviously, I've never set foot in the gym, so it was quite interesting for me. But we had it at Tobacco Dock, and thank goodness it wasn't raining, because the registration desks were outside, albeit sort of under a canopy. But if it had been heavily raining, we definitely would have got wet. But it was a really nice view. I might post the picture in the comments. It was really nice, and I haven't been to Tobacco Dock for ages, and I was reminded that it's definitely my favorite venue in terms of the sort of adaptability of the space, because I've been to like a techno day party there. I've been to an awards dinner there, and then obviously quite a lot of trade shows there. And my question to you two was going to be, and everyone listening actually, was going to be, what's your favorite venue and why?
I'll go. It has to be the Sphere at the moment in Las Vegas.
I'd love to go there.
Got the opportunity to visit that last October while out at IMEX. Lovely Dalia Algazar had wangled away with some tickets and invited me and Shane from my team to that. And just genuinely everything is impressive about it, even the price of alcohol. But it's so much more than I think you expect it to be, or from what you can see. Certainly videos and footage and things that you might have seen online doesn't do it any justice. It's impressive to walk up to it. Just the way that they've got the internal kind of designed and laid out, it's vast. I was shocked at how big it was inside, even before you got into the amphitheater or whatever they want to call it. We watched a thing called Postcards from Mankind, I think it's called, and it was just, I felt like I was on a roller coaster the entire time.
Wow.
It was really, really good. It was very visceral in terms of the way that got things set up. So I can only imagine how good it is to actually go and watch music and gigs in there. And I think the first B2B conference or something has just hired the venue out. There was some news today, I think, on that. I saw that on Sean Cheng's feed. So, they're obviously moving into that sphere as well. And I was just like blown away with it. I would go back there in a heartbeat.
Amazing. I know, I've seen so much about it, and I wonder how much of it was, I mean, obviously it does look amazing, right?
Yeah.
I wondered how much of it is kind of like just crazy hype around something new and exciting like that versus, it's actually really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it'd have to be pretty special to stand out in Vegas.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it has to be pretty good, right?
It's got to be special.
But yeah, I wonder what the pricing is like for that one. I wonder which B2B event is running there and how much they've paid to be there, because surely that must be, in high demand at the minute.
I'm going to have a quick look. I've just found the story.
Wasn't it like a couple grand for like a minute visual or something like that? I seem to remember someone publishing something like that. Or less than a minute, obviously, because I think that a minute's quite a long time. Be interesting to find.
I know it was recently losing a fair amount of money. It is Hewlett Packard who has booked the venue. So
corporate event.
That'll be interesting to see what they
how
do
they do it,
how they use it and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Well,
what about you, Matt?
My venue, it's a bit of a weird one because I don't have to travel to as many events as I used to, which is, I've got to be honest, quite nice at the minute. But I'm going to say it's a local one, and it's because it's been being worked on for as long as I've lived here, which is probably 20 years. From it being open to then closed for a very long time, and then partially open, and then not, and then open again, and then not, and then open again. But it's Saltine Lido. The reason I say it, because there's a pool, and I like swimming, and I do a lot of surf rescue training type stuff there, which is just awesome anyway. But they have, the start of this year, just opened the doors, and they are slowly opening up each part of this completely restored venue. And, you know, it's been done entirely by volunteers. I mean, the planning, etc., of the building has not. It's cost a small fortune. But, you know, when you kind of worry about things like that and you're thinking, oh, no, it's going to be a bit crass, it's going to be a bit cheap and like all that kind of stuff. And it's like, actually, it's turned into the most amazing place. Like, one wing's got a gym in it. There's plenty of meeting type rooms. There's a huge ballroom type thing which overlooks the Lido, overlooks the pool. And when you get the sun coming through at sunset and stuff, you sort of get a glimpse of that. But for meeting spaces, small meetings, obviously weddings, I expect they would want to do. But we've hosted quite a few meeting and workshop type things in there. And it's just perfect.
Oh wow! I'm just googling it now. It looks super deco.
Have a little look. It's such a beautiful space. Like, they're still working on it.
Nice.
But it's like, I could imagine. I mean, you're not going to get ginormous events there, but your sort of workshop meeting type events, I think, could be quite popular. And it's not in the middle of town and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, getting people outside and stuff like that too.
I think having your events, especially, you know, in those smaller events in unexpected places, so that you know, your mind can wander, your mind can get sort of access a bit more creativity. I think that's really, you know, I think that's really interesting. I mean, obviously we have venue sourcing companies that would do that for us. I know that there are lots of companies that source interesting venues, but the mindset difference that it makes to be somewhere that's either, I don't know, like you say, Adam, like that sphere, you know, just mind-bogglingly big, and how that changes your mentality about something, you know.
Well, and I think, I mean, on that note, I'm helping host a sort of couple-day management workshop thing next week. And it is out of town in a different location, but part of it is because of the beautiful grounds that it's all in. And it means in some of the sessions they can't go for a walk and a talk. So I hope, God, you know, fingers crossed the weather plays ball. But it just then, hopefully, even those real serious strategic days that companies need to do can be broken up with just different views. And yeah, like you said, whether it's the Sphere or the Lido or just a bit of countryside rambling in between it, I think can help reset brains.
If you can't find a venue, create your own one. Wreckfest, Jamie and the team there.
Have we lost him again?
No.
Right, for some reason, right. So some
it's all lessons learned.
Connect to my phone. I don't know what I'm doing. Wreckfest.
Yeah.
If for those who are unfamiliar with that, it is about recruitment, which, having had a wife that worked in it, is probably the dullest subject on the planet. But he's done an amazing job with his team of essentially creating a festival around the topic, and they've just grown massively, and they've got all these like interesting spaces, and they're using different structures, like the structures from Evolution Dome and stuff, to create kind of content areas and do things with. And I mean, I'm not in recruitment, and I just feel like I want to go to it, just because of the kind of the format it's in as well. So I think that's one of the things I think we as an industry need to think more about, is like, is it that hard to create our own space?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, because I, you know, my mind was wandering on where I could have it even near here, you know, similar style events. But then it does come with a lot more extra sort of thinking involved, planning involved, even health and safety, you know, things to think about. And I think, you know, whilst it's a fabulous idea to go, right, you know, let's just go from wherever you want to be in the world and then work back, you know, work upwards almost from that. It does, for event planners that are time poor, it adds so much complexity, no?
Well, what the recruitment events company do, which is the guys that run RecFest, they work with the fair, and the fair are essentially festival production.
Right.
So they, I think the RecFest is slightly different to kind of like our approach, where we do all the event management and production internally.
Yeah.
But that's easier to do because we're, like you said, Abby, we're in Excel, so it's like a structured environment and stuff like that. But there are companies out there that can just basically do all of that for you. So probably more efficiently and more and take some of the risk as well themselves
Because-
by them wanting to do
Yeah,
it.
true.
Because the venue's experience doing it, you mean?
Because the fair is experienced at putting festivals on, so they
Okay.
know
Yeah.
what needs to be done from a planning side of things, from a health and safety point of view, from an infrastructure point of view. Festivals are, Abby's right, festivals essentially are complex, just in all the moving parts and what you're putting in terms of infrastructure. But that doesn't need to mean that you need to learn that yourself. You can use a production company like the fair. And to be fair, a lot of trade shows use an outsourced kind of event management company even to put a trade show on. So,
by the way, I was at Drumcode, speaking of spaces and festival sort of promoters and so on. I was at Drum Sheds at the weekend for the first time, having been to Printworks before. The organisation of that, they've obviously carbon copied how they've laid out and thought out Printworks as well. It's like a space for 15,000 people, and it's so well organised that whoever it is that runs that, I don't even know the name of the company. Sorry,
Broadwick
if you're
Live.
listening, you're not.
We know the 5 listeners. We're good.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it's just superbly there's like one-way systems into the main warehouse room and so on. Like, it's just superbly planned. Great event planners, the people who put that on.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
and
do you know-
completely white space, as you say, because it's just an enormous, great warehouse, essentially.
But so
they're opening. Sorry to cut across. They're opening a new venue in Canary Wharf.
Really?
Broadwick,
Are they?
Yeah, Broadwick Live. Oh, yeah. I got an invitation to it the other day. I was trying to find it while we're chatting.
yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
interesting.
so this might be something that ads can relate to with your move from Truman Brewery, always a word I can't say, to Excel. But Blue Earth Summit, I think I've talked to you both about before. Amazing event over in Bristol, and it was basically in a warehouse, and then they'd also do a day at the Wave, the sort of surf pool over in Bristol, which was just epic. But it's just grown bigger and bigger each year, and actually they're going to Woolwich Works, I think, in London this year. I've never been to that venue before, but I think just as the event's grown, like, they obviously needed more space for people, but probably, I'm going to go ahead and assume, for exhibitors, sponsors, sessions, like all that kind of stuff too. So it's quite interesting, like how...
I haven't heard of that one. I'm just looking it up.
Woolwich
We
Works.
should put all these links in because it looks amazing.
Woolwich Works?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not really heard of it before, to be honest, but it does look pretty cool.
Yeah, another one of those. It looks sort of tobacco docky, as you say, like
bit industrial, but I quite like that.
Yeah.
Oh, is that where? Is that where we went to an awards thing once, Ad?
No. Which one? Sorry,
Woolwich
what was the name of
Works.
it?
No, I don't think it is actually.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, so it's just interesting how stuff evolved like that. But maybe listeners, have you got a fantastic story of a venue you've been to recently that you'd like to share with
What's
us?
with the voice?
I don't know. I went radio voice. That's my reading my book on my own voice. Everyone's scared off. Do put your hand up if you want to tell us about a cool venue.
Yes, please come on.
While everybody's deciding who wants to go first, the venue that I just mentioned, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. It's called the Peligon, Pelligon. It looks wicked.
Okay.
It's right nearby the water. It's really interesting shape to it. I don't know how big it is. I don't think you're going to be throwing a big old trade show in there. For you, Matt, you could definitely go paddleboarding outside because I can see like 5 users here on the photo paddleboarding outside. So you could do like a Waves Connect on the water session.
Oh, there we go. What's it called? The venue, mate? Peligon.
Peligon. I think I'm pronouncing it
in
right.
London.
Pelligon.
Yeah, Canary Wharf. That looks spectacular.
Spaces Stories, is it that link? We will. Oh, there we go. The Peligon.
Thepeligon.com is the website. Look, we're giving them free advertising. How good!
I know.
Sponsored by next episode.
And our next live will be coming from the Peligon. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it?
I think that's the thing, isn't it? You have to think about, like, you have to go hunting for these new spaces and things like that.
But how much of it also, like, it's lovely to have nice big venues like this, but I mean, I guess it's a lot of the workshop type facilitation stuff I do, but they're looking for like just cool, intimate spaces too. That it's like, I mean, to be fair, the LinkedIn one was cool because it was, you know, rooftop. You could imagine in summer it had a huge kind of balcony bit that you could probably host some food and drinks on and stuff like that too. But it was just nice seeing London from a slightly different angle and, you know, all that kind of stuff, which was pretty cool. So imagine there's like
going back to that sort of experience, you know, an event should be an experience, right? It's not just about the content. It's about the journey of getting there and being welcomed and what you eat and what you see and, you know, who you meet, obviously. But like, you know, it all adds in, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Right. We've got 4 minutes left to the half hour.
Oh, feels like ages.
What, that we've been speaking for ages, or that 4 minutes?
No, that 4 minutes. I have to carry on.
It's not as though we've never had enough to talk about. But what do you think of all this? I mean, we're just chatting, so I don't really have any comments about that.
Well, we need the listeners to comment, really. I'm enjoying it. I think it feels quite relaxed. You know, it was very easy to join as a speaker. I was a bit worried about what link do I need to use? You just literally click on the event link and then you're in. What do you think?
My thoughts are you would need to commit to doing this regularly and consistently to generate, no offense, more than 5 people to it. If you were kind of looking at it being based on scale, because like I said, the other things are not there at the moment where you can record it and then distribute it or host it or reshare it and things like that natively, at least anyway. So that's my initial thoughts on it.
I think you're definitely right, but I think also like thinking it from the organizer's hat on with like event followings and all that kind of stuff, if that becomes part of your content strategy, then you've got the audience there, right?
I'll tell you what it could be. It could be like live radio from an event.
Ooh.
With like if you as an organizer, if you planned it well, you could have like a live broadcast going on either all through the day or at certain points through the day that people could then listen in, and there's like speakers and attendees and things like that.
If only we knew an organizer amongst us that had an event coming up in the next few weeks that could try this.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, it certainly would be. You know, we're at the moment kind of looking at the cost and the value of streaming content from the show floor in terms of engagement rates and all that kind of stuff, and just it's astronomical in terms of budget to make that happen. Broadband connectivity, AV teams, cameras, you name it. It's obscene in some cases. Whereas I feel like this, as you know, you could set this up in one of like, again, I'm going to give them a shout out, but one of like Ash's little pods.
Definitely.
You've got some like sound deadening to it. Have somebody like you, Matt, as a host through the day. And then the organisers just bringing people in to have that like conversation. But then it's two ways, isn't it? Then there's that audience that's listening in the background that can come in and interact with people at the event.
I fully agree. Like this, maybe this is the new hybrid event model. You know, that you can listen in rather than, you know, have to be watching streaming that's obviously incredibly difficult to put on. You know,
so I guess your biggest issue is just connectivity then, right?
Yeah, but if you've got a hardwired internet connection, which is still fairly expensive, don't get me wrong, or a dedicated line via a dongle or something like that, which Excel and others do kind of offer, then I think it's there. I'll have a look, but I doubt it's that much bandwidth, to be honest with you.
It can't be huge for something like this, surely.
No.
That could be really interesting.
Yeah.
Radio for events. Ooh, right, coining that. Let me jump off so I can save the domain and write a quick AI overview of what that looks like, and then share it.
Already done it, mate.
Yeah.
Too late. He's been on 1, 2, 3 reg already.
Yeah, thumbs up. Brilliant. Right, unless anyone that's listening wants to say anything about what it's been like, I know Sophie sort of said how great it's been, and I think already sent it off to some of the team to look at, just this whole format of listening in and not having to be face-to-face with a webinar, I think, which is quite cool. But if anyone else, Marin or Shirley or Bogdan or Aids there too, sorry, who's below the fold for me, if you want to mention anything. I would say the one thing actually from the admin perspective, I think it's probably the same for you, Adam and Abby, but you just get that little sort of pop-up type thing next to your messaging.
Yeah,
it
you
feels
can't expand
a bit
it
small.
Either. Yep.
So
I feel like they could. I feel like comments or chat function would be good for the attendees as well.
Yeah.
Aid wants to speak.
Oh,
look.
come on in, Aid. Come on and allow you to speak.
I haven't spoken to Aid in ages. Are you all right, Aid?
Where is he? There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of the kind of roving reporters at an event, because it's basically analogous to a WhatsApp group. It's a group WhatsApp, isn't it, where everybody's commenting about the event, but there's 3 people waxing lyrical and who are kind of leading the charge and then calling people in as they see people pop in to listen in on what's going on. I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Yeah, good shout, mate.
Yeah, Ed's right. You could probably even potentially rove around like that. Yeah,
just be sort of talking as you go around the show or something.
Yeah.
And Abby, if you had a big screen above your head with the link,
the eye walkers, yeah, exactly. Come and join our radio show.
That's quite cool. Yeah, it's an interesting concept, isn't it? I quite like that, because also it's a lot of people freeze up on camera. I do. Yes. Like if you told me to just put a camera in front of myself right now and record 30 seconds what I do, I would record it 20 times. If it was us chatting, that's different. But I think taking the camera away and just being microphone, I think a lot of people would possibly prefer.
The fact that it's not recorded for posterity as well means that, you miss it and it's gone. I think that's quite sort of important as well, that actually this is a one-time only.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, BBC or whatever, right? You've got BBC Sounds, I think it is now. So you can listen back, which is also quite cool. And I think Bogdan messaged as well, but like it feels good. You could do this while working, and it's like you don't have to have a video open and all that kind of stuff. Interesting.
Drive time with.
We definitely need to come up with a radio voice that.
Event BC.
Broadcast EWD.
Yeah.
Right, gang, thank you very much. I'm going to see if this did record. I did try, so we'll see what happens with it, and if so, we'll share it. No.
Thanks for joining, Shirley, Sophie, Moraine, Bogdan, and Aid.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks very much, team. It's good learning.
Yeah. I'll speak to you all soon.
Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.